Assalamualaikum and a very good day to everyone. We are from Group 16 and today we will be presenting on the article The Rise and Fall of Management Accounting written by H. Thomas Johnson and Robert S. Kaplan, published in 1987. Our group members are myself, Danish Aiman together with Batrisyia, Imran Hakim, Amirul Asraff and Alif Danial. Each of us will be covering different sections of the article to provide you with a full picture, and this article is considered a classic in management accounting literature because it criticizes how management accounting lost its relevance to businesses over time. And Johnson and Kaplan explain how management accounting started strong and become weaker and then needed renewal. So in this presentation, we will cover the rise of management accounting in the early years, the reason for its decline, the consequences of this decline for businesses, the new solutions and innovation that emerge as a result, and finally a conclusion on why this article still matters until today. So let's begin with Batrisyia, who will explain the historical rise of management accounting.
To understand the rise of management accounting, we must look back at the period between the 1850s and 1925. This was a time of rapid industrial growth in the United States, with the companies such as DuPont, General Motors, and Carnegie Steel leading the way. During this period, managers faced a big challenge: how to control the large-scale production and make operation efficient. To solve this, they developed a sophisticated cost system and financial controls. For example, DuPont created the famous return on investment (ROI) model, as this allowed managers to measure profitability in more scientific way by connecting sales, costs, and assets. Similar to General Motors introduced the decentralized divisional structures with performance measures which allow managers to compare the efficiency across a different division. Management accounting during this period was innovative because it was directly tied to business strategy. It was not just about recording the financial numbers, but about helping managers make a decision, such as which product to produce, how much to invest in machinery, and how to price the product competitively. Therefore, Johnson and Kaplan described this period as the golden age of management accounting, a time when it played a central role in supporting organizational success. Another important aspect of this rise was a direct collaboration between the engineers and accountants. In early factories, accounting data was used not only to calculate the profit, but also to measure the efficiency of machine, workers, and process. For instance, Carnegie Steel used the cost per ton analysis to monitor the productivity in real time. What made this period unique is that management accounting was considered a toolbox for managers. Rather than just a paperwork for reporting, it helped identify waste, reduce inefficiencies, and guide investment decisions. This integration of accounting with business strategy explains why American companies like DuPont and General Motors dominated their industries during the early 20th century. Their success shows how powerful management accounting can be when it directly serves a managerial needs. With that background, let's move to the decline of management accounting, which will be explained by Imran.
After 1925, things began to change. Johnson and Kaplan agreed that management accounting entered a long period of decline and stagnation. The main reason for this fall was that accounting shifted its focus away from managerial decision-making and towards external financial reporting. In other words, accountants become more concerned with meeting the requirements of auditors, tax authorities, and investors. As a result, the information produced was designed for financial statements rather than for managers inside the business. Managers who need detailed, accurate, and timely information were instead given reports that were too general or outdated for strategic decisions. In the 1970s and 1980s, the gap became even more obvious. Businesses were facing new pressures. The first one is global competition. For example, competition from Japanese manufacturers. And the second one is rapid technological development, especially automation and computerization. And the third one is complex production environments with higher overhead costs and diversified product range. Yet, management accounting system was still using old cost allocation methods which designed decades earlier, when manufacturing was simpler and overhead was small. In short, while the business world had evolved, management accounting had failed to keep up, and this is what Johnson and Kaplan refer to as the fall of management accounting. This decline also reflected a change in mindset. Accountants were trained to be cautious, rule-following professionals. Their priority was compliance, not innovation. And as a result, management accounting became reactive rather than proactive. To put this into a context, a manager in the 1980s might wait weeks to receive cost reports, only to find that the data was already outdated. By then, competitors in Japan or Europe had already adjusted their production or pricing strategies. Another factor was the overemphasis on short-term financial results. Companies focused too much on quarterly profits for shareholders while ignoring long-term efficiency and competitiveness. This narrow perspective contributed to Western firms falling behind global competitors who invested in quality control, just-in-time production, and continuous improvement. Therefore, the fall was not only about outdated methods, it was also about the failure of the profession to adapt its values and priorities to a changing world.
Thank you, Imran. Now, I will explain the consequence of the fall of management accounting and why this became a serious issue for a business. The failure of management accounting to evolve had a serious consequence for a company. One major problem was distorted product costing. Traditional systems allocate overhead costs in a way that did not match how resources were actually consumed. For example, if a two products use a very different amount of a machine time and support service, the old system might still separate the overhead equally. This made one product cheaper and another more expensive than they really were. Such distortion lead manager to make poor decisions. A company might discontinue a product that appeared unprofitable even though it was actually contributing positive to overall performance. Or they might invest heavily in a product that seemed profitable but actually draining resources. This issue becomes known as the relevant loss problem because the information provided by management accounting no longer reflected to reality of modern business operation. The consequence was not only poor internal decision making but also a loss of competitiveness. By the 1980, many Western companies were struggling to compete with the Japanese firms who were using more up-to-date system of the production and cost management. One example of his problem in the electronic industry, many American firms underestimate the true cost of producing complex, high-variety products. Their system suggested these products were highly profitable, but in reality, hiding overhead costs made them less competitive. Meanwhile, Japanese firms with more accurate costing and quality control could sell similar products at lower price and still earn profits. Another consequence was the loss of trust between managers and accountants. Managers often complained that accounting reports were not useful for daily decision making. This reduced the influence of the accountants with the organization, pushing them into the more compliance role rather than a strategic one. Ultimately, the failure to provide relevant information means the accounting no longer plays its original role as a partner in decision making. Instead of, it becomes seen as a burden, sometimes necessary for reporting but not helpful in guiding the future of the business.
Fortunately, Johnson and Kaplan's critique also inspired important new directions in management accounting. One major innovation was activity-based costing, introduced in the late 1980s. Instead of spreading overhead evenly, ABC traced costs to the specific activities that consume resource. For example, instead of charging all products with the same overhead rate, it is identified which product required more machine setups, inspection, or customer support. This also gave more accurate picture of product profitability. Another development was strategic management accounting. This approach encouraged the accountants to look beyond the internal costs and considering external factors such as competitors, market condition, and long-term strategy. Later, Kaplan himself, along with David Norton, introduced the balanced scorecard in the 1990. This performance measurement system recognized that financial measures alone were not enough. It added non-financial perspective such as customer satisfaction, internal business process, and learning and growth. All of this innovation aimed to restore the relevance of management accounting, making it once again a tool for managers rather than just a reporting function. Beyond this, companies also begin to adopt concepts like just-in-time production and total quality management. These approaches emphasize efficiency, waste reduction, and continuous improvement to all areas where management accounting could provide valuable insight if adapted properly. For an example, ABC system not only improve cost accuracy but also reveal which activities added value and which created waste. This information was critical for companies seeking to stay competitive in a lean manufacturing environment. The balanced scorecard, on the other hand, help organizations shift their focus from short-term profit to long-term strategic success. It reminded managers that customer loyalty, employee development, and innovation are just as important as financial results. Together, this solution marked the beginning of a renewal of management accounting. This also showing that the profession could evolve when pressured by business realities.
To conclude the article, the rise and fall of management accounting gives us three important lessons. First, in its early days, management accounting was innovative and essential for managerial decision making. Second, over time it lost its way by focusing too much on external financial reporting, which caused its lose relevance in rapidly changing business environment. And third, this decline forced the profession to rethink its role, leading the new tools such as activity-based costing and the balanced scorecard. The key takeaway is that management accounting must always adapt to the changing needs of businesses. If it fails to evolve, it risks becoming irrelevant again. With that, we have come to the end of our presentation. So on behalf of my group members, Raja Batrisyia, Imran Hakim, Amirul Asraff and Alif Danial, we would like to thank you for your attention. Assalamualaikum and thank you.